5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hi class, as promised, here is your wonderful and exciting, riveting video of me explaining what we need to get done for this week. So on my TV, I hope you can see I have projected our modules, and we're going to look over the week 5 and go over what we'd like to get accomplished before we meet this Friday. So obviously you want to do the lesson, the description online, the lesson on description, which is an online YouTube video, which you can follow by clicking that link there. So start with that. Some of you have already turned in your descriptive paragraph and they were looking good, what I looked at. We'll go over again we will go over, excuse me, I lost my place, week 5, descriptive writing. Okay, so then we have the descriptive paragraph, which is coming up next. I would like that accomplished by Saturday at midnight. So we're going to talk for a while in class about descriptive paragraphs. So if you've already turned yours in and you'd like to resubmit it, I don't have a problem with that. Feel free to do so. But we are going to be talking about the descriptive paragraph in class. We will also discuss Unforgettable Miss Bessie in class, and we will talk a bit about commas, it looks like. But for now, make sure you've read Unforgettable Miss Bessie, which is in the textbook, and also do the figurative language, 303 to 304. We have online commas, which is another online lesson for you to accomplish before Friday. Grammar exercise after you have finished with the online lesson. We will have a reading quiz on figurative language, so be sure that you've read the 303 to 304 to do that figurative language quiz. Let's make sure that we have the quiz and it has words in it. Let's preview the quiz. Published version of the quiz. There is no instructions on this one either. Okay, so we will just discuss that as a group. We will not worry about doing the quiz online. So I'm going to cancel that, so I will unpublish it. So you will not have to deal with it. Where are we at? Week 8, that's not right. Week 7, week 6, week 5. Please forgive me if you hear my dog chewing her bone or if a cat happens to come tearing through the middle of our video here. Can't do much about them. They are wild animals that I live with. Alright, so the grammar, the reading quiz will be canceled. I do want you to do the lesson on figurative language online, so that's something that we need to get accomplished before Friday. Do the grammar capitalization, P8-1, 8-2, and 8-3. These will come out of the Writer's Reference Guide. And the commas, P1, P12, P13, and P14. Those will also come out of the Writer's Reference. So do those 3 things, and then we will talk about the descriptive paragraph. So again, just to recap, what we need to get accomplished this week before class are the descriptions that have online. So begin with the description online lesson. Make sure you've read Unforgettable Miss Bessie before we meet on Friday. Then do the reading on figurative language, page 303 to 304. Do the grammar lesson online for commas. Do the grammar exercise for commas. The reading quiz has been canceled. But you also do the lesson online for figurative language. And then finally, we're going to deal with capitalization and commas. You can't see this on your screens because I've unpublished it. It's semicolons and colons, not something that we need to deal with at this point in our class. Let's look at the descriptive paragraph. That's what you're going to have written by the 29th at 11:59 p.m. That is Saturday at 11:59 p.m. So, the instructions say, write a descriptive paragraph that responds to one of the following prompts. Use the scoring rubric to revise and edit your final submission. Format according to MLA guidelines. Write a descriptive paragraph, so you'll choose one of these three options. You don't have to do all three of them, just one. Write a descriptive paragraph about one aspect of a special event, such as a wedding, graduation, or vacation. Consider the feeling of the day or hour, and write a description of the scene, choosing details that capture the dominant impression and idea you identified in the topic sentence. So, in other words, we don't want to have the entire wedding or the entire graduation. We just want one aspect of that. In other words, you might focus on how well it was or how accomplished you felt and how glorious it was to walk across the stage for your graduation. So you would want to describe that feeling of that portion of graduation alone and not the entire graduation ceremony, because not all of a graduation ceremony is exciting. Usually when you walk across stage, usually when you get to throw your hat in the air, usually when you're done and you get to take pictures with family and loved ones. That's the fun stuff. Sitting through an hour, hour and a half of a speaker, or waiting for everyone else to walk across the stage, if your last name begins with S or later, can be pretty dull. So focus on that one aspect of it. 2, you could think of all the teachers you have had and then write a description of the one who has had the greatest influence on you. Remember to include a balance of physical and personality traits. Be sure to explain how this individual influenced you. So again, we're looking for a description of a teacher that you've had great influence on you. For instance, I think I mentioned in class the last time we met that I might write about my 10th and 11th grade English teacher, Mr. Holden, who was this short little hobbit-like man, big thick glasses. His hands were all gnarled up. He reminded me a bit of Bernie Sanders, to be perfectly honest, but he was funnier. He wasn't as angry as Bernie Sanders is. But he also encouraged us to think outside the box. He was a very free-thinking man. He loved a good joke. He loved a practical joke. So I would try to get all of that aspect into my paragraph about Mr. Holden, both of his physical attributes as well as his personality traits. So that's option 2. Option 3, you might write a descriptive paragraph about someone you know or have known. Use good descriptive details that would not only show the person physically, but also reveal his or her personality. Using dialogue is a great way to illustrate one's character. So in other words, how does this person speak? Do they have idiosyncrasies? Do they have catchphrases that they go to all the time? I believe I used in class an example of my dad. So my dad was a physically powerful person. He was strong. He had big Popeye forearms, lots of hair. But he was also one of the kindest and sweetest people you've ever met. And he had catchphrases, lots of them. He was from Kentucky, so old folky wisdom was his thing, and he did a good job with it. So I would use some of that dialogue that I might have had growing up from him, or some of the stories that he told me in my paragraph. So again, those are the 3 options for you to write about, one or the other, not all 3. And feel free to email me if you have questions or you want to run something else by me before we get started on Friday. Again, this is due February 29th at 11:59 p.m. So we will meet the 28th on Friday, and then you'll have all day Saturday until almost 1 minute before midnight to finish up the essay. Here's your rubric, looking to fulfill. So take a look through that. I'm not going to read all of this over a video. It will just take too long. My dog is about to start barking because someone's car started. So hold steady for the volume if you need to turn it down. All right, so going back to the modules and to recap real quickly so we can have a good class and catch up from what we missed. The dog is feeling better. She had a pretty bad infection, and she's doing all right now though. So, description online, read Unforgettable Miss Bessie, read figurative language, do the grammar commas online lesson. Let's see if the grammar exercise has anything in it. Those are the launch pads, so we do not need to worry about those. I'm going to cancel those as well. Let the computer catch up. Okay, grammar, commas, that's being canceled. Lesson figurative language online, and look for the capitalization and the commas from the book, but if you can't find it, don't worry about it. We'll talk about it in class. Capitalization is for proper names and such, so we're looking at making sure that if you're using a person's name